All right, welcome back, everyone. I just had a pretty sick match against Seth, where I managed to squeak out the win. And I'm joined here by Andy, Mr. Black Lotus. You got some nice background going on there.
Yeah, that's not contrived or anything like that for the VSL.
It's actually like that every day. It's not just a setup.
Yeah, this is actually I'm hanging out in my bedroom and I keep that right beside my bed, so I look at that every morning. So that's
Must be nice.
yeah,
So
blessed.
Andy, what do we have up next? Let me check the schedule here. We'll have Seth playing against Cyrus, so PO
Yeah,
Storm versus Oath.
yeah. This is going to be a pretty good match. We were just actually saying to Cyrus at the end of your match there that I would think that PO would be significantly favored here in this match.
Yep. What
Uh,
makes you say that?
Well, I think that PO is just such a fast deck, and the Oath deck has, despite it has some disruption, I think that there's an equivalent set of disruption on the other side of the table. So,
Yeah.
in addition to that, I think that Oath of Druids is renowned for, opening up with bricks in their hands. So you're quite often taking mulligans when you're opening up with Blazing Archons and Niv Mizzets in your hand amongst. Amongst things like that. So that's my thought process. But Seth does have some cards like Pyroblast main deck, which are pretty solid in the matchup, and he does have. I believe Seth's running some missteps in his deck as well.
Oh yeah, he almost has the same disruption suite as your average Xerox deck would have.
Yeah.
The only difference is that you have some lands that sometimes puts a clock on yourself. You have some dead draws, as you mentioned, but other than that, I think he's pretty well set up for it to be a good match.
Yeah, I was gonna say like cards like a braid. Despite that, it will target PO to some extent. I find that they're probably going to be too slow to be impactful unless Cyrus has himself a slow hand. So
Yeah, but yeah, I just figured the blue disruption spells alongside some neat artifact disruption in Dak Faden and Ancient Grudge. I mean, that's usually a recipe for success. But yeah, you're right. The abrades are not super efficient.
like, do you think that the PO matchup is favored here versus O?
I like PO by a small margin in the matchup because of the things you mentioned about the inconsistency of Oath, the virtual mulligans going on. It's but I think it's going to be a close one. Seth can put up a good fight.
Yeah, as all I was going to say, as always with Oath of Druids, that turn one Oath with the Orchard that can seal your doom pretty quick, regardless of what deck you're playing. So,
Yep.
what how Seth runs here?
Yeah. So I think we gotta go, and the players are ready. So let's get down to the match. Here we are, Andy. So the Oath player won the die roll, and let's take a look at Seth's hand right here. No Oath of Druids. You have the good ingredients of Mox plus Orchard, but no Oath of Druids just yet. What
Yeah.
what, what about Cyrus's hand? What do you see there?
Oh, I think Cyrus has got a pretty sweet little opener here. My apologies, Andreas. Who won the die roll? Seth.
Seth is
Okay.
on the Seth is on the play here.
Yeah, so I think that Cyrus has got the makings here for a very strong opener, particularly if he can find himself another Mox.
Oh yeah, he will have Metalcraft turned on, but he'll have to spend a mana in order to do so. So no turn one Time Twister as we speak.
Hmm. One of the perils here of this hand, though, and one of the ways that Cyrus can get himself disrupted pretty early on is that if he's not able to time twist here or combo off in any capacity, that we're
So Andy's connection is not the best here. I think what he was about to say was that Dak Phaeton can disrupt this draw unless Cyrus draws another Mox.
Yeah, exactly.
I wonder what Seth did with the Preordain. The Jace is a pretty mediocre card to keep on top, but maybe, yeah, maybe it's good enough. I mean, you're fine, Andy. You just dropped out for a bit there.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, so
now comes the Dak Phaeton.
Yeah, I think given where the hand is at right now, like this is pretty significant if he goes and he steals that Mox Emerald.
Oh yeah.
Metalcraft.
Away goes Metalcraft, away goes, so that's functionally 2 mana that you're stealing.
And of even more impact, what we're looking at next turn is should Cyrus not be able to crack off this Time Twister, that Jace the Mind Sculptor is going to come down, and that could be a problem. So I think that Cyrus is...
nice. Cyrus had a repeal on top, so he's able to disrupt this Dak activation.
Oh, sweet.
So that means next turn he has a Time Twister available to him if he wants to.
That's actually pretty huge.
Yeah, for sure. Repeal is a good counter to Dak Phaeton.
Yeah, this is pretty close here. This is pretty close.
So he doesn't like the Time Twister when he's tapped out, because he doesn't want to pass the turn after a Time Twister, so he goes for a Brainstorm. And he gets rewarded, I guess.
Yeah, that's very solid.
So do you see him going all in here? I was about to say with the Chain of Vapor, he could generate some mana, but yeah, it's just not worth it if Seth has a Forcible. This is perfectly fine.
You know, an Ancestral Recall is pretty good, especially when you get to redeploy 3 mana, so...
Yep. I guess that was actually a recall, because it got reduced by 3 because you can cast them again, so, and you drew 3 cards, so that was actually a non-mistable Ancestral Recall.
That's exactly right. All right, so he's a diggin'. Oh wow, we got the Academy.
Academy's going to be great next turn.
I was going to say, that makes a Time Twister a lot more palatable, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so he's going to be able to. He's just got a dearth of options next turn. He can actually Snapcast into a PO. He can cast a Mentor, Time Twist.
Seth draws the Force of Will, which is great, because that means that the game is not necessarily over next turn.
Mm-hmm.
So I imagine he'll get rid of one of the Delve spells, the one he likes the least, alongside the Tropical.
Reasonable. So, if you were Cyrus, Andreas, how would you handle this next turn?
It depends a lot on. I mean, if Seth taps out for the Jace, I would put him on 1 Force of Will for sure, and then I would try and craft a game plan that beats that. But if he doesn't tap out, then I will be worrying about Flusterstorm and Pyroblast as well as Ancient Grudge, actually. So now Cyrus really has to think about his options. And in spots like this, I really like Monastery Mentor, because you don't invest a lot, but you most likely win the game if it's unanswered.
Right. And as you
Whereas
say,
the Time Twister, you invest a bit more.
Now things got even more interesting. Force of Will.
Yeah, he drew his own Force of Will, so now he's inclined to make a more high risk, high reward play himself.
He's just going to go for a PO here by the looks of things.
Yeah. I'm not. He gets beat by Flusterstorm by doing that, so I imagine Monastery Mentor is still his play.
How many Flusterstorms does Seth run?
He's running 2 as far as I remember.
Yeah, you're correct. Yeah, two Flusterstorms. Okay, so that's a possibility. I mean, you just got to go for it, right?
I like this play. You dodge all disruption spells on the other side except Force of Will. So I like the Mentor.
Hmm.
You just don't want to get blown out by a Flusterstorm. Cyrus figures if Seth wants to fight over this one, then maybe he's weak to the Mentor.
Oh, okay. So we've got what, 4, 5, 6. So he can actually get that Mentor into play, and he can snap into PO.
Sure. At this point, it's a little less risky because you still get value from the monk. And also another thing, Seth would have played Oath of Druids if he had it last turn, because he doesn't really need 4 mana for anything. His disruption spells are either 1 or 0 mana. So Cyrus is pretty safe that he's not gonna face an Oath of Druids next turn. I mean, unless the Dark Faden finds it, of course.
Mm-hmm. Now, of note, in response, if Cyrus decides to go for this snap into PO here,
Yep.
that we have an opposing dig through.
And that could find a Flusterstorm. That would be great.
Yes. Which I was just going to say can get into a Flusterstorm here. He's got enough. So this is a really tight position here. We're walking on a precipice.
Oh yeah.
You got to go for it here, though. I mean,
yep.
You're the PO expert, so I'll defer to you on how you'd handle this.
Yeah. So from Cyrus's perspective, I was talking about Ancient Grudge before, but that shouldn't worry him because he was almost tapped out on Seth's turn, so he would have just blown up 2 Moxen if he had the Ancient Grudge. So that's actually not a concern at this point. It's basically Fluster and Pyro. But since the Mentor resolved and Pyroblast wasn't played, then I guess it's down to just Flusterstorm at this point.
Yeah, that would be a pretty good Flusterstorm. I can understand Cyrus's apprehension here around taking his time. I mean, when Seth's sitting there with all that open mana there, it's most definitely ominous.
So let's see if he manages to drag them all the way down, or we have to wait.
Oh, the suspense. Oh, he's good. He's good. I see there's a Mox there, and I see that there is a Preordain.
Yeah. That's not the ones he's looking for.
No.
Ancestral plus Oath of Druids. Those are good magic cards. So he gets to Ancestral for another shot at finding a counterspell.
Yep. That's improbable. I mean, he needs to find. I guess he just needs to find a force.
Yeah.
But that's a fairly costly force when you have a Dark Faden and a Treasure Cruise. But oh.
Yeah. So stuff happened.
And there's more stuff to happen yet.
Well, let's see if he actually has the ability to fire off the tendrils. Seth with the concession there. I mean, he could have found the Time Walk and played Oath plus Time Walk and one from there in case Cyrus didn't have it.
Yeah. Well, I know my blood pressure's a lot better off not watching Cyrus go through the process there. That was Seth to move us along there.
Yeah. Okay, so Seth is really all in on destroying artifacts. I just saw him bring in 3 Nature's Claim.
Holy catfish, he's right in there, eh? Pyroblasts are a must. You got to bring the Pyroblasts in.
Oh yeah, he'll get to those in a second, I'm sure.
Mindbreak Trap should be in there as well.
Yeah. I don't like a braid. Paying 2 mana to kill an artifact is not the best, but maybe that game is sitting with him because he just lost a Monastery Mentor. He doesn't want that to happen again. But yeah, I don't like a braid. That's too high of a price to kill an artifact. I like Grudge because it has flashback. I like a couple of Nature's Claim because they're cheap.
Yeah, 100% agree. I think we were talking about a braid at the beginning here. It's not an efficient kill spell in this type of match.
No.
I think that Cyrus is going to have one heck of a brick type hand for Seth to get value out of something like that.
Yeah. It looks like Cyrus, he cut the 4th Opal and the Petal, which are usually good in fast matchups. They're not very good against blue decks because you have to worry about your spells actually resolving. Then he cut the Hercules, and I wonder what he put in. Probably a couple of Flusterstorms.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he's running Remora. Did you notice on the deck list if he's running Mystic Remora?
I believe he is not running Remora. I remember seeing some chat go around Twitter about that, and he was too worried about creature strategies like Eldrazi and Chops. So
Okay.
I think he audibled away from it. I can just take
He's actually running 1. I just checked on the deck list. He's running 1. 1 Remora and 1 Defense Grid, 2 Flusterstorms, and I guess he also brought in the Caracas.
Yeah, Caracas is pretty reasonable.
He's expecting Gristlebrand to be Seth's Oath target of choice.
Yeah, like Blazing Archon has very little value in this match.
Yeah.
Snapcaster and a Mentor, so the Caracas could be good. That's a pretty loud
actually
when you get hit with when you're oathing into a Legend style oath deck and someone drops a Caracas on you. It never feels good. Okay.
Nope.
So Seth has a very controlling hand with double misstep, double force of will, and a Nature's Claim, which he cannot cast.
Yeah, that hand is looking to trade 1 for 1 to buy time and to, draw some action.
Yeah, what do you think of Cyrus's hand here, Andres?
I love Night's Whisper. It's by far my favorite card in PO because in situations like this, you have a card, it's not worth countering with Force of Will, so it's just, oh wow, he even has a library. Oh, I guess he drew the library. Okay, so the library plus Night's Whisper is just so effective against a hand like this out of Seth because he's looking to trade 1 for 1, but that strategy is just not gonna cut it against library and Night's Whisper. Strip Mine answers the library, but he does get to draw a card in the process.
Yeah, for sure. Night's Whisper is a really great tech in a world where 4 of Mental Misstep is everywhere.
Yeah. Dodges Pyroblast. Yeah. Will get flustered if the opportunity presents itself, but it's just very strong.
You could probably comment better on this, but from the guy that's quite often sitting across the table from Night's Whisper, I just don't feel good value flusterstorming a card like that. Like you don't want to counter it. That's the thing, and it's so innocuous that way, where it builds incremental value on your side, but your opponent doesn't want to spend a counter on it.
Yeah, that's the whole thought process behind adding the card. It's just a great turn 1 play out of land and plus Mox, and you really don't want to deal with it. But I think you have to if you have either Spell Pierce or Flusterstorm, because you can just get buried in cards if you don't.
Yeah, for sure.
Seth misses out on a land here. I mean, Nature's Claiming the Mana Crypt would have been a great play, but unfortunately not. So now both players are going to fight over the Mentor, and it's going to end up getting countered. He really needs to find a mana next turn, Seth, and needs to kill that Mana Crypt, because if not, then the Karn is going to run away with it.
Yeah. Seth, I think Seth has the one draw here to try and find his way out of this.
Yeah. So Cyrus paying mana for the Detection Probe. I'm going to ask him about that later. I guess he's afraid of Dyna Mana Crypt, but
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. Ooh, that is not going to help. Ooh, this is getting precarious here. He's going to have to close this out really quickly.
Yeah.
Now, Karn has the capability of doing that. Essentially, I think he needs to win one coin flip before his Karns get out of
Yeah, I
control.
guess he's only in real danger if he misses like 3 in a row.
Now, Andreas, would you have made a golem there?
Yeah, I think I would.
Yeah, just given the mana crypt here, that's
I guess I would, let's see, I guess I would have pondered first if I played out a Mox, and then I keep open a Tundra or Underground Sea. I would have pondered first to see what I was working with. So, but I guess maybe he's playing around. No, he's not playing around deck Phaeton. That doesn't make any sense when your opponent's stuck on one land.
Now, he can cast the deck here, and
What's
he's
the
going to have the ability. Well, I don't like.
what's he
Given
gonna
that,
do with this deck?
I think he goes and he looks for land here because, given that there's a Karn in play and he knows that there's a mana crypt, Cyrus is basically penciled into creating a golem this turn.
Yeah.
And of course,
And then you
Seth
can take that with deck Phaeton. Take the Golem.
Yeah, so I don't think I like this line from Seth here because Cyrus is very much penciled into. I guess he's got a dig here, but he needs to find something quick to get that.
Yeah. Yeah, I like your line of digging because you can get lands, sure, but the most important part was that you would have enough loyalty to take a Golem next turn because Cyrus is incentivized to, speed things up in the face of his life total combined with Mana Crypt.
Yeah. Well, I mean that might be a moot point here if Cyrus finds himself a Mox and a PO.
Sure. Then none of that would matter. So Seth is trying to disrupt the combo part of Cyrus's deck, which is reasonable. I don't think it's reasonable that Cyrus can't do anything broken before he loses 3 mana crypt flips.
Well,
So
he found
maybe Seth.
Look at that. He is fearless. He just recast that thing right back out there. Would you not be somewhat apprehensive to recast that card given the board state here?
If my plan was Snapcaster dig through time, I guess I had well, I guess I could wait. So yeah.
I was gonna say what's the hurry here to get that mana crypt back out?
He could have just had that mana crypt in his hand if I don't know, if he somehow breaks on the dig through time, yeah. Playing it out prematurely didn't accomplish anything.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I mean, I like the all-out theory here.
But yeah, you're right. You would rather keep your options open until after you played your draw spells. And now, of course, you would have played it because you drew the PO, and then everything would be fine. So just some minor sequencing there.
Yeah, I mean, it's moot anyways. He's going to go off here, but very well played.
He's passing the turn. So he didn't want to. He did have 1 floating mana, I'm pretty sure. He didn't have Metalcraft.
Ooh, okay. That is unfortunate.
That's pretty funny. So do you just? I don't think you. Yeah. Okay, you drew a Foster Storm, right? So he should probably just pass the turn here, Seth, and hope for the best.
Yeah, I'm just wondering about that mana crypt. Is this going to come back and bite Cyrus to some extent?
Yeah, because if he sequenced the way we talked about, he would have the crypt in his hand right now and be at 8 life.
Yeah, and when you have a card like Knight's Whisper in your hand, despite your wanting to go ahead and cast that card, it puts you now in a position where you are 1 mana crypt flip away from dying. So that is a dead card in his hand, as far as I'm concerned. I guess he can PO it back now, but
yeah, I'm curious to see what he goes for with this Demonic Tutor. in a spot like this where you don't really have a lot of artifacts on the battlefield, finding something like Sol Ring or, I guess Mana Vault is better because he's planning to PO anyway.
Yeah, so this PO is going to get countered with a Flusterstorm.
The thing is, he just tapped out for the Abrade. Seth just tapped out for to Abrade the Snapcat.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. Oh dear. Okay, so Cyrus is okay then.
He gets the top, which is perfect, and he hangs on to the Demonic Tutor.
Yeah. This should be
bounces
over.
the Karn for value. Yeah, sure.
Should be over.
He knows the coast is clear now, and he has Demonic Tutor in hand with Black Lotus in the graveyard, so that Yawgmoth's Will is gonna be great. And he even has the luxury to play the defense grid, even though if Seth had a Force of Will, he would have countered the PO straight away.
Yeah, for sure. But there's PO for you folks.
Yeah. Yeah, Seth didn't have a whole lot to work with this game. His hand was just so poorly set up to deal with the Library of Alexandria plus Night's Whisper. Plus, he had to fight over the Mentor, where he also lost card advantage.
So, Andreas, we're going to play a game here for the viewers. What do you want to take, the over or the under on 20? 20 storm count before he gives the kill here.
Cyrus is not going to get to 20 this time, so under.
All right.
he didn't want a showboat.
There we go. Okay. Very well done.
Oh yeah.
Some exciting magic for you folks tonight.
Sure is. So Cyrus moves up to 2-0 on the day. That locks him for the playoffs.
Yep.
Meaning that he can relax in the match against me.
Yeah.
But look, next up on the schedule we have you and me.
It's you and I. Yeah. Jeez. Just like old times, eh?
Oh yeah, and you have to win that one.
Yes, I do. So you keep that in mind, okay?
I will. All right, everyone.